Hey everyone, it's Christophe. Today I'll be showing you a very interesting line I happened to find in the Najdorf Sicilian. Please excuse my voice, just on a side note. I do have a minor cold, and well, it's just that time of the year again. However, I found this variation when I was sitting alone at lunch the other day, while I was playing around with my pocket stockfish. And I found an incredible knight sack on b5, and I thought I'd share it with you. I'm not entirely sure if this has been documented before. I'm led to believe it has. However, let's start. So we see e4, c5, knight f3, pawn d6, d4, the pawns are exchanged, knight f6, putting pressure on this pawn, knight c3, a6, and at this point in the game, we go for a Sicilian bishop c4, and this is one of my favorite lines. If you know me at all, you know that the Sicilian Najdorf is my favorite opening to play with both black and white pieces. We see pawn e6, bishop b3, b5, castles, bishop e7, then rook e1, knight bd7, f4, knight c5. Believe it or not, in some cases it's actually entirely appropriate. I'm not going to get into it right now, the whole line, but instead of playing f4 here, in many cases it's completely appropriate to sack on e6 here. And I will be sure to document this in another video. However, as for the time being, I'll just show you what this video is about, and this is about one day a knight sack, actually. We see knight c5, e5, the pawns are exchanged, knight fd7, we see bishop to f4, g5, bishop e3. This is a kind of a clever move. The purpose is to remove the defender of this pawn, and then one day capture here. This does end up happening, except there's no rush to take this pawn on e5 just yet. He plays h5, we see queen to e2, queen to e7, rook a to d1, and this is where black slips up a little bit. I wonder if you can see the move. I kind of already pointed it out. Knight takes e5, and this is a mistake. If you would like to see why this is a mistake, and it's not a huge mistake, I would probably classify this as an inaccuracy more than anything. If you would like to find the continuation here, please feel free to do so by pausing the video. Okay, the move played here is knight c takes b5. Very shocking knight sack, and in the actual game what actually happened is knight takes b3. But what I want to do is explore this very natural a takes b5. You know, what happens here? Well, what ends up happening in this line, and this didn't happen during the game, I only found these two lines after analyzing this game, and it goes like the following: queen takes b5, knight ed7. You can block with either knight, but in this variation with ed7, we see a very clever move, knight f5, and black is very tempted to take this knight. This is actually losing, by the way, I should note, for black. If he takes the knight, you're losing your queen by via bishop takes c5, and black definitely has to give up the queen. So this is one variation, which is dead one for white. Another variation, after a takes b5, there is queen takes b5, and you can block with the c knight instead. Knight c d7, queen takes b7, rook b8, queen e4, queen b4, we see bishop to g5, and if the knight ever moves, the knight on e5, for example, knight g6, you are, it is suggested that black resigns after bishop takes e6, and it's now time to resign. After f takes, queen takes, knight e7, queen g6, I haven't looked at this through the computer in a while. I'm just looking through my notes, but this is, I believe, you might want to double check me on this, but this is a mate in 10. There's no way you can avoid checkmate in this variation. King d8, knight e6, and the game's dead lost now. However, in the game we actually see if we go back a little bit, instead of taking with the a pawn, we actually see knight takes b3. Instead, we see this. Knight takes, and I'm not going to go through the whole game, it actually got pretty stale real quick. One thing to remember though is to remember the power of this rook. An interesting line I also found was actually played as knight c6. However, there's an interesting thing. So if black tries to do something stupid, like, for example, bishop here. Oh, it's in check, isn't he? Knight c6. If he plays a move like this, we see bishop takes g5, very strong, and this actually does lose the queen, pretty much. If queen takes, there is checkmate, and this is a very interesting note of improvement. So if you are ever playing with the white pieces and the Najdorf Sicilian, never underestimate this rook a to d8 move. This is very strong at some point in the game. Is there a defense after bishop takes g5, something along the lines of maybe f6? Well, you can just take this pawn, can't you? You just take this pawn. And this also loses. The queen is lost. There's no way of defending this. If queen takes, it's a bit deja vu. Queen takes d7 mate. So these are very interesting lines. This wasn't played during the game. We actually see knight c6 instead of knight d7, and the game ended up winning for white actually. But yeah, these are just two lines I found very interesting. I thought these were worth documenting. If you or somebody knows lines similar to these, or if you know this exact variation, please feel free to let me know via commenting, and I'll be glad to research the history of these lines. Other than that, that's all I have for you today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.